Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there is having themselves a great day. Happy Saturday where it's Saturday. Happy good morning, good day, good evening, however it fits. Welcome to Dan RadioStyle. Got a great show planned today, by the way. I think it's an awesome analogy. A lot of us have a hard time, right? Like that whole, we're going to manifest, right? This thing, right? I have it right now. And then, a second later when you're done saying I have it right now and feeling and experiencing it, where you do at that moment have it right now. We have this whole problem, right? We have this whole problem where we have to then live life without that thing, right? We have to wait until it happens. So how do we think about it? A lot of us, I think, screw around with words. What kind of words do you use, right? Don't say it's you're waiting for it. Don't say it's in the future. It'll happen, right? There's all these different concepts. And again, words aren't so much the issue as much as the concepts behind them or what you mean, right? But I think this analogy kind of helps, and I think it helps for a lot of us that are going to, how can I see this process, this allowing? How can I see this in a better way that makes it easier? Because I would say, for the standpoint, I don't know, I'm just making stuff up here, but from love, relationships, because they're somewhat complex as two people co-creating together. And then you got the idea of I think jobs and income, right, are another one where stuff happens, right? Like you can say, I'm going to manifest. You could win the lotto. A lot of us are going down that path, but there's other, we're like, how can I make a more successful business? How can I increase my YouTube channel? How can I, right? Like there's a lot of things that many of us are attempting to grow and develop. And so through this whole process, that's the evolution. So I like to liken it to cooking. I know a lot of you hopefully are okay with that, but I love to cook and I enjoy eating. It's fun for me, and I know some of us maybe are dieting or maybe aren't, but it's something that all of us have to do to one degree, right? And manifesting to me is a creation process. It is creation, and I think cooking is too. In my mind, they're absolutely equals. It's almost apples to apples kind of comparison. A lot of us are trying to create something that doesn't currently exist. Your dinner tonight doesn't currently exist. Maybe you're going to have meatloaf. Maybe you're going to have stew. Maybe you're going to have goulash. It hasn't been created yet. Maybe it has. Maybe you're making it right now and you're listening to us, and I think that's rad. And anyone that is, please chime in and say, yeah, I'm cooking right now. That'd be awesome. But the manifestation process is multifold, and really what it's meant to do, I think, is ultimately get us to the last stage, which is allowing, essentially. Much like cooking, and I'll try to cover this analogy. I don't want to bury the lead too much, but to a point I do. So what I see a lot of the thinking about, first off, what do I want? Like a lot of us, some of us, don't know what we want. Do we want a specific person? Do we want love in general? Maybe we're tired of the person that we've been chasing after and we're like, screw it. They're not that great anyway. Or as I've joked, for those of you that watch a lot of my videos, they're the tow truck driver, right? And if you got a thing for tow truck drivers, good on you. But maybe you want the Wall Street guy, or maybe you want the guy that's the head of some corporation, or maybe you want that engineering, intuitive, what's the word? Doesn't matter. The guy that's creating new products, new software, whatever the heck. You liked it. I want to say the word and I can't. It's on the tip of my brain. Prepping is that thinking. What do I want? It's imagining. And see, a lot of the times people say, I don't know what I want, blah, blah, blah. And when I'm coaching, I kind of say things along the lines of, hey, what do you want to experience? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. And it seems weird to some people, right? You're like, why do I want to talk about it? But what it does is it forces us to think about what we actually want. It forces us, especially, to say it out loud and hear ourselves say what we actually want. So this is actually a giant step. And a lot of us, I think, sort of underestimate. We might be very focused on someone specific. We might be very focused on a particular job. When in reality, and I'm not saying with a specific person, but in reality, sometimes it's larger than that. And the specific person too can grow and develop into huge things. Maybe we just want to have a relationship. Maybe we're looking for a boyfriend, girlfriend, but what about the idea of maybe one day, having a family, or maybe one day, or spending eons together. Even the whole idea of marriage is something I think that's kind of changing with the generations these days. But the idea of spending an extended period of time together, hanging out, being friends, having fun, whatever that means. Making water balloons and stuff, I'm sure. Of course, that's all it is. So the prep is getting a lot of that. And we get into the words, the thoughts, the imagining process of what it is that we want. So that's the prepping, right? That's you're chopping your onions to make your meatloaf, right? You're grinding it all up, get some breadcrumbs and some liquid and egg. Just because meatloaf sounds really good right now, even though it's not what I'm making for dinner. Should have done differently. That being said, but the mixing, right? So you got pop, you got to prep everything, you got to get it ready. And you throw it into a bowl. Now this is an important part, the combining of ingredients, right? If you're going to make anything, meatloaf, cake, right? Anything you're going to make, at some point after the prep, you've got your flour, you've got your egg, you've got your whatever, your vanilla. Making a cake, just trying to throw some ingredients up top of my head like, I don't really ever bake. You're doing all this work. Now you got to combine it. The combining is really when we get to the point of the feeling as though, right? That's when we're doing the techniques. That's the combining. What we're doing is we're taking, all right, here's the thing. Here's my desire. Here's what I want. Here's my prep. Pop, 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 right? Grab it all together into a bowl. Get ready to mix it. That's the feeling as though I have it. That's the I have it right now. That's the I feel as though I'm living in the end. I'm doing all those techniques. Whatever your thing is, 55 times 5, the cups method, the auto writing. I'm not doing well. There's a bunch of them, right? So many techniques. The mirror technique, which I, by the way, brought up recently. I'll probably link at some point. It's an amazing technique. Looking at your mirror and self in the mirror and saying, I love you, you are the best, you are amazing, you are fantastic, you are special. Whatever your thing is that you're having a challenge with. It's a great video, I'll link it. So the combining is putting all these things together, feeling as though, putting yourselves, doing the techniques. All of us know the techniques. Half of the people that are typing right now, you guys know the techniques better than anybody. You guys are masterfully known to the techniques. We do them until we're blind, but then what happens? We've combined all the ingredients. Then what happens is we invariably doubt. We invariably get to a point where we're like, I don't think this is working. I'm not seeing things happen. I've stopped seeing signs. This isn't happening. That's not happening. Now they're dating another person. What the frick am I doing wrong? When again, that could be part of the process. So many of us look at the physical world and decide what's actually it's like looking at today and saying this is exactly what 7 days from today is going to look like, right? That's not fair and really shouldn't happen. I should never look at today and go, yeah, 7 days from now is going to be exactly like this. It's like, really? Like, you have no imagination. You are not living on the edge at all. You are definitely needing to expand your bubble. Something needs to happen to shake you up, just to get you to think bigger. Like, maybe I should buy a gumball machine. Yes, now you're making steps in the right direction. Something crazy and radical. For this example of this person that's very boring and bland. Can you imagine a gumball machine, all the colors? And chewing, and it's annoying. You gotta spit it out because it's gross and your jaw hurts. Oh, it's so much fun. So we've combined all the ingredients. We feel everything. Everything's groovy. I got it. Now what? How do I get through the day? How do I think about my manifestation as though I've got it right now? Okay, I've got it already. Awesome. What the hell does that mean? You have it right now. Come on. You have it. But you're like looking at me going, Dan, I don't know if you've noticed this, but he's not in the room right now with me. So, you're full of it. Now, if one, he could be at work. So that's true. Two, you're right. You're right. That's the point. The art of allowing is the allowing process. It's like a blooming concept with a flower, certainly another analogy that I've talked about before. But in the cooking standpoint, it's when you put the thing in the oven. It's when you start cooking it. And we all know if you mess with the cooking process, you screw up the goods. If I'm baking a cake and I keep opening it to look at it, is it done yet? Is it done yet? Is it done yet? You ruin the cake. It's not going to happen. It's not going to cook right. It's going to be weird in the middle. It's going to be oddly cooked on the outside. It's going to be dry, right? You're going to screw it up in so many different ways. In the case of meat, if you're sitting there flipping it around, well, you're killing it. All the juices, if you start poking it with stuff, because I'm not sure if it's good, so I'm going to cut through it, and all the juices come out, you ruin it. When ultimately what it comes into is you either A, set the oven, you know what it's going to be, boom, 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 put the foil, don't put the foil, open it up, shove it in the oven, close the door, and forget about it. Do you question the fact that your dinner's going to be ready in 45 minutes? You're making meatloaf, right? maybe a little long, whatever, right around there. Or a cake at 30, 40 minutes. Or maybe you're grilling, 4 minutes aside, 6 minutes aside. It's got a specific amount of time. It's got an amount of time it's going to need to unfold. Is it happening? Sure. Do you have it already? Yeah, I guess. 6 minutes from now. Again, we live in a space-time concept. We live in a place where moments happen. We live in a world where, first off, manifestation doesn't happen instantly for most of us because most of us can't control our thoughts. We would wish people dead and then we'd feel bad, right? Because you'd instantly manifest and they'd drop dead and you'd be like, oh, I did not mean to do that. I've gone through 6 friends this week doing that. And that's not going to help, right? So we've got to figure out a way to deal with the fact that moments happen, however many, between the moment of feeling as though the wish is fulfilled and actually really combining the ingredients and saying, all right, universe, here's my dinner, here's my cake, here's my meat that I'm throwing on the grill. Here it is. And then you place it in the allowing vessel, oven, grill, solar cooker, brick oven, the sun, I don't know, steamer. There's a good one, right? You put it in there. Rice cooker, because I got one. Those are so rad. Anyway, you put it in there, you let it go, you shut the door, boom. When the light turns green on the rice cooker, it's ready. When the beeper starts going, deet, 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 it's like, then awesome. It's time to eat. If I've got to flip it, then 4 minutes into it, deet, 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 I'll get, maybe something will happen. Maybe a reaction moment will happen with me and my specific person. Maybe we'll bump into each other and I'll need to say something like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow night? You want to get some coffee? Right? Like maybe you come up with something where you've got to interact. Because right now you got to flip the meat over. That's what you're cooking. So it's going to require a little action. And then you give it another 4 minutes, shut the thing, walk away. Know what's happening. Is it right now? Yes. Is it happening? Yes. Is it in process? Yes. Is it going to? I mean, if you think about it, like you can use any number of words as long as you understand that the moment you open the oven and pull the food out, it's done. So is your manifestation. It's like a bun in the oven. Sorry, just funny little analogy popped into my head, right? That's a 9-month cooking process, but still, right? It's a process. Flowers unfold for a reason. It's beautiful. It's an unfoldment. I thought about the last analogy before I close out and then start taking some questions from everybody. It's like the idea of a YouTube channel to me. If I just instantly started a YouTube channel and had like 1 billion subscribers, like a lot of people would be like, that's awesome, that's what you do it for. And I'd be like, not really. For me, it's the growing, it's the developing, it's the time I put into coming up with something that hopefully is a good topic that people might enjoy and maybe putting together a decent show that they'll actually listen to. Now, I do it as good as I do, and I'm working on getting better, but whatever the case is, with time, things progress. You get better at stuff as you do it longer. You grow into the audience that you create, and it teaches you to kind of learn through that process. So just because something doesn't instantly happen doesn't mean it's not going to, and certainly is something that it's better to step back and kind of appreciate there is a process to this as this flour unfolds, as the cooking happens. In the case of a cake, right? What cookies? It seems like always to me, when things get within about 5 minutes of being done, that's when the smell is the heaviest, right? It's like right there at that end, and you just smell it. Cookies are the same way. Like, oh yeah, and they're almost ready. It's the same thing. Our food is becoming ready. We'll know it's happening. We'll appreciate the process of the cooking and then the taste of the warm, yummy food. I mean, it's, again, when we can step back from it for a second and allow things to unfold rather than question every single day. Is it happening? Isn't it happening? Is it happening? I don't know if it's happening. It's not happening. It's not happening fast enough. Stop. You set the timer, whatever. And again, I'm not into like setting a deadline. You can. I just don't like them. They don't usually work. But I mean, again, the concept is it's being done. You've combined the ingredients. You set it to the universe. You've shoved it in the imaginary oven, if you will. And at some point, the ding, in your life will happen, or the ding, and I've got to go react, I got to flip the meat, and then give it a little more time, it'll happen. Wait for the ding to happen, but the ding's going to happen. Do anytime you've got to react, pay attention to the ding, right? Maybe it's, you got to flip your meat. I mean, to use a horrible analogy, maybe you're going to be adding more meat, right? At some point, like, oh, more people showed up. I need to cook more meat. So if it's more fresh meat, maybe you're making carne asada, which sounds really good. I'm making my own self hungry. Laying that on the thing, and you know what? And you're going to set your timer, and in 4 minutes, you're going to have to ding that over. So, again, you might hear multiple dings through your process, but you're going to cook a beautiful meal. And it's happening right now. I hope that makes a difference.